Evening folks, this is BestInSlot and welcome to Jurassic Park, or at least my iteration of it. In this brand new series, we are finally going to play with the 1993 pack and we're going to try to build the original OG Jurassic Park as accurately as we can. We've got all the tools, we've got everything at our disposal to do this the right, proper way. Really excited to give this a go. Want you guys to be really involved in this. I will admit this is my third attempt at this already. I've been running into problems. Basically, the size of this, the Jurassic World Evolutions maps are not humongous to say the least. So I've run into a couple of size issues. I think I've figured out how we're going to work around it. So what I'm going to do now is bring up this really well made map. Isla Nublar map by Evo, the irritated nerd. I don't know what they're irritated about, but I hope they feel better. And Crazy Dino 1. Now this is based on what's seen in the film, and brochures and control screens and everything. And as far as I can tell, this is what everyone's map roughly looks like, but I find theirs is a very clear version. So this is the one we're going to base our park on, and also my own playthroughs of the film and stuff like that. Now, as you can see, with Jurassic Park, the main centre of the park is based on the Middle East. Jurassic World, when it came in, was based sort of more down to the south. The west has a little bit of stuff, we're going to talk about that in a moment, and the north is basically entirely left alone because that's actually where Mount Siba was. Interestingly enough, Mount Siba didn't actually exist, you know, in 1993, in terms of, like, it's just not mentioned as far as I recall. But the point is the north is all but abandoned, and the park is really built on that eastern shore. So my initial plan, the first time I did this, was to basically have this be the entire island, and then what you do is you build the fence section in this Middle East bit. The problem is, whilst you can get the fence to look perfect like that, and it does look like it does in the film, you can't fit anything in. There's two halves to this. One, I want the park layout, as in the fencing and the tour vehicle, to be perfect, but I also want the exhibits themselves to resemble the ones from the film. Specifically the Gallimimus, the Parasaurolophus / Brachiosaurus, the Triceratops, and the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Those are the paddocks we're going to see. Also the Dilophosaurus to an extent. And I really want that to look like it does in the film. And you simply can't do it in such a small space. So I moved the visitor centre a little bit to the left and I tried again. And it still wasn't enough. So what we're going to do is basically take that fenced section you can see on the map and impose it across the entire park here in Jurassic World Evolution. I really think that's the only way to get the right shape and have enough space to build the enclosures the right way. Now what that does mean is we're ignoring the rest of the map essentially. A really good starting point for this is the visitor centre, because the visitor centre is about halfway up the fenced section. If not a little bit further to the north, I would say. But it's about halfway approximately. And to the east is where everything is, and to the west there's basically nothing. So, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a second as well. That's not the right building. So we're going to put the visitor centre in, and right, where's halfway is the first question. Is that about halfway? Probably. I like this little jutty out bit here. I feel like just to the north end, I think the jutty out bit is a pretty good place to go for. So I think we're going to go about, I'm really going to stick this far to the west. I think we're going to go about there. Now, is that good? Yeah, I'd say that's pretty perfect. Now there is another problem here. I'm going to bring up this map a lot. I actually might just leave it on the screen for a little while. Today's really going to be about getting these fences perfect more than everything else, because it's surprisingly hard work. Anyways, now there is a slight problem. If you look to the west of the visitor centre, that's where the Velociraptors are. They don't actually have a paddock marked out at any point. What they've got is the, well, this little thing here. Let me find it. Where is it? Is it enclosures? Yeah. The Velociraptor pen. That would be around here. Probably a little bit further that way, but the point is it would be in this direction. They actually don't have a paddock marked. We've got the pen. I think the idea is the raptors were being raised, and of course they were dealing with the big one, tearing the others apart and all this kind of stuff, and they hadn't actually set up the raptor paddock itself at this point in time. They don't have an official paddock to break out. They actually broke out of the pen, and we actually saw that in the film, because at the end when Muldoon and Ellie are walking past, if you look at the broken version of this, I actually can't really show you right now, but at some point you'll see the wires sort of bent outwards, and that's actually what the in-game version looked like as well. The idea being the raptors broke out of that pen, and that's why they're everywhere. They don't break out of an actual paddock. To the west is also the maintenance shed, And, oddly enough, the, I believe Metriacanthosaurus, no, Herrerasaurus? Question mark? I think it's the Herrerasaurus, yes. The Herrerasaurus, which thankfully, oh, we do have Herrerasaurus, damn, is further to the west, over here somewhere. So, what we're going to do is basically put those more to the south, rather than to the west, because there's just no room. I think if we're going to get like the fences and the enclosures spot on, there has to be a sacrifice somewhere, because the map just isn't that big. So I think what we'll do is put the maintenance shed, well, put the raptor pen about there, put the maintenance shed around there, and then we'll do something with the with the Herrerasaurus a little bit further to the south. That's the compromise I think we have to make if we want to get this as accurate as possible. But I'd love to know what you think in the comments down below. Right, second thing we need to talk about is fences themselves. So I had a little look at all the paddocks I could find on Google and had a little look through my own copy of the film. And you really don't see that many of the fences, like the Triceratops, for example. I don't believe you see the paddock fence, despite it being there. It's kind of odd how that works. The tour vehicle goes through the paddock fences for that one. It actually goes through the T-Rex fences as well. It's actually... yeah, none of this map makes any sense. You'll see that very often. The map, if nothing about Jurassic Park canonically is like logical. Everything is falling apart. It's all very weird. I think we know the world is internally not that consistent in terms of layout and stuff like that. But that's okay. We're going to finagle it. We're going to make it work. I think what we're going to do is primarily use this fence right here. Now, if you look at the Dilophosaurus paddock in Jurassic Park, it looks something like this. It's got these kind of like crooked bar, like metal bars at the top. The only difference is, here they're symmetrical, but I believe in the film they're asymmetrical. So there's one bar that goes pew pew, like so, sound effects are necessary. And the other bar goes up, but instead of going pew pew, it goes pew wah, because the wah is meant to be a light. Basically, instead of the crooked bar on that side, there's like a warning beacon light kind of thing. The other fence we see is this one right here. And we see this for the Tyrannosaurus paddock. If you go look at that in the film, you'll see these kind of transformers at the top of the pylons, just in all along. The other fence we have access to is, of course, this one. But this one is, of course, from Jurassic Park 3, when they run into the Spinosaurus with the Kirby painted tile plus. And, you know, he hears the ringtone from inside the Spinosaurus from bloody miles away. It doesn't make any sense, but that's fine. I think the idea is like the stomach cavity of the Spinosaurus kind of like reverberates the noise, or whatever. This is very similar to the fence that the Spinosaurus breaks through, so we're not going to use that one at all. So my thinking is, we do actually have more large carnivores in this park than you see in the film. We've got the Baryonyx and the Metriacanthosaurus. Those will be the two extra large carnivores that we'll be adding, I believe. Yes. So what I think we're going to do is, because this fence is used for the Dilophosaurus, I think we can assume this was used for, say, Herrerasaurus, and especially for the herbivores. I think we're going to use this fence around all the park, and then the T-Rex, Baryonyx, and who's the other lad? Metriacanthosaurus will get this slightly more important. This is only a medium fence in the end of the day, but I think we'll use that for those three larger carnivores. That's my plan so far. I've been thinking about this quite a lot. It's hard to... We really want to get that accuracy as much as we can, whilst... I've got hiccups. Whilst acknowledging there will be sacrifices along the way. But we're going to do what we can. So, I think the best way to handle this is to put in some markers right now. So, for example, the visitor center... I'll leave the thing up. I'm just going to put this in temporarily. The fence kind of curves around here. This is only temporary for now. And I would like to have this further away, if anything, from the visitor center, but I think we really need to maximize the space. So that would be that sort of midpoint, and then the top would be around... Well, the top is actually further to the east than the west if you look at the fences, so I think we can put it in this gap up here, which is pretty handy. So the top of the whole thing would be around here. And that kind of comes around... Get that nice and curvy, bring it down. Something like that. That's pretty accurate to the top section. This would actually be the Tyrannosaurus paddock. And also, oddly enough, the Metriacanthosaurus paddock. Or Herrerasaurus. I can't tell from this distance. I think Herrera? Yeah. No. Yeah, I think Herrerasaurus. I really can't tell. That's another thing I'm going to bring up in a second. There's a lot of exhibits here where there's herbivores and carnivores that are within the same fence section kind of thing. Now, I think the implication is there are mountains or rivers and other things, or not really rivers based on what I'm looking at, but there's other features and heights and stuff in there that separate the dinosaurs without the need for fences. Because I suspect the Parasaurolophus and Triceratops did not share the exact same paddock, even though if you look at this map, that's actually how it's listed. So, oddly enough, there's actually also 2 tour routes. We'll get to that later. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I think what we'll do is either put in extra fences that aren't there, but I don't like that idea, or we'll simply turn off combat and make it so that the dinosaurs would naturally stay separated by putting off feeders in certain places. Anyways, there's so much to think about. If we head down to the bottom then, this is going to be our, I think, Parasaurolophus, no. Sedgesaurus. Yeah? Yeah, this would be the Sedgesaurus at the bottom. Now, we don't actually have Sedgesaurus, but we'll bring in something essentially as similar as we can. Now, the bottom is further to the west, so if that's the top there, the bottom should be around probably here. It's got like a very distinct sort of curve to it, so what we'll do is we'll use this bit of land sticking out, and we'll use that to get a little bit more space, and use that to build our curve. Something like that, and then that'll curve, swing up, and up, bounce around there, swing down there, and up to there. It's pretty good. Maybe it can, yeah, it probably needs to be a little bit more that shape, but that's what we're going to work on. We're going to go from there, we're going to try to get this done. We're just going to build all in the same type of fence for now, and then I'll swap later as need be. So, let's see what we can do. I know other people on YouTube have tried this. If you haven't seen her channel already, Leanne does some really good building stuff. Primarily, like, her path design is incredible. It blows my mind every single time. I really recommend you check out her work. I know she's done something similar to this as well, if you want to see someone else tackle it. But I will say I haven't seen it. I really don't like watching other YouTubers just for the sake... I don't like my stuff to be influenced, essentially. So, any similarities are going to fairly obviously happen, but not through design, I will say. But do go check out her stuff anyway. Right. Let me think here. Let me think. As dangerous as it seems when I think, we're going to do it. I want that to come up a little bit further. I really do want to maximize the space here. That should go up about 1/3 of the way to the... I'm going to use my hands and do a little measurement here. That should go up about 1/3 of the way to the visitor centre. So I want this to go up a teeny tiny bit further than it does, based on my very rudimentary measurements there. So I'm going to do that, bring it forward, and then curve it like that. That should do it. And then that kind of goes off to the side like that. I'm going to, again, we need to elongate this just a little bit. That curves up, and this actually down here would be the east dock. Again, not something we can totally build, but we can put some water in, and we can put like a little track in, and we can kind of build something similar to what Nedry goes through. Interestingly enough, if you look at the map, this isn't actually that close to the Dilophosaurus paddock, which is more sort of up in the northern reaches. So how the Dilos got this far down, I have no idea, but there you go. Like I said, you're going to see a lot of this in Jurassic Park. There are a lot of... internal inconsistencies with the world building, in my opinion. It's not a big deal or anything, don't get me wrong, but they're definitely there. Okay, so this right here would actually be the Baryonyx paddock, and we want this to still be just south of the visitor centre. Hopefully, yeah, that's pretty frickin' good. So that curves around there like so. I'm a little bit tighter to the wall than I'd like, but that's okay. Now I'm going to bring that in just a tiny bit, because what is also marked on the map is actually service roads. Now I'm not totally sure we're going to be able to bring those in, but I would like to leave the space to do so in case it is possible, essentially. So that's going to come in like that. It's a bit far. All here for the accuracy, loves. All here for the accuracy. So I want this to curve up Had a weird little lisp there. And then that should be just above the visitor center where this curves in. This is actually working out surprisingly well. Right, so that's going to curve in quite sharp in that kind of direction. Now, this is actually the Tyrannosaurus Rex paddock. It's going to come forward a little bit more, and then that curves upwards. Kind of facing towards the northeast, so a little bit that way. It's probably a bit much. And then that comes... Okay, I'm nowhere near the top, though. That's my one problem right now. I'm further down from the top than I expected to be. That's okay. We can make that work. I think the visitor center is probably a little bit too far to the south. It is. It definitely is. I don't really want to change it. What I'm going to do is bring the top down a little bit. Into this gap here. Now, there's two reasons to do that. One, the gap between the two shouldn't be as big as it is. I also want to bring the river in. That's actually there on the map anyway. But also, this is the Triceratops paddock. And if you look at the top fence of the whole thing and the way it connects down to the visitor center fence, it's quite a smooth line. It's not very steep. So I'd like to kind of resemble that if possible in a way. So this is fine. We lose a little bit of space, but... all in the name of accuracy, my friends. All in the name of accuracy. As a random little side note, I will be giving away... I've got 3 copies of Return to Jurassic Park to give away. Again, big shout out to Frontier for giving these keys to me so I can give them out to you guys. We're going to be doing that at some point during this playthrough. I don't know exactly when, so just keep an eye out. I'll mention it at the start of the video when we're doing that. So if you've still been waiting on a copy, or you've maybe been waiting to pick up Evolution till the DLC is a bit cheaper or something like that, then... yeah, well, stick around and hopefully get yourself a free copy. Right, so that's going to come down to there, and then it's going to bounce around there, curve around there, and link in with there. So I want this to... I just need to make this a slightly softer curve than I was anticipating. More like that, I think. It's fine, there's a lot of service roads here as well, which again, I'd quite like to include. That goes up, and up, and up, quite a lot, and then it curves, and it curves, and it goes quite sharp at the end. Like there, and then it curves upwards, and it joins onto it. Nah, it's not quite there. I just need that to be straight, essentially. This must be hella exciting for people. Okay, so curve, and then stop the curve, and then curve up. And I just want that to match to there, like that. I tell you what, folks, that's pretty darn good, if I do say so myself. I'd say that's pretty bang on. I think that's a bit sharp for my liking, that little bit there. So if we can smooth that out, that'd be great. But that's a good start. It really is. Tell you what, this is actually pretty sharp on the map. I'm not sure I should have changed this. It's not that sharp. It's not far off though. Actually, it might be better. It's not that sharp. It's close, but it's not that sharp. I'm going to curve that down, and then we're going to go like that. Yeah? Yeah, perfect. Near enough perfect. Alright, that's pretty good. Like I said, I really just want to get the fence done today. It's more work than you'd expect. So, let's try to get the outside done ASAP, and then we can focus on the actual exhibit fences as well. So this is going to come out like that. And then it kind of goes straight up for a while. And then it juts out to the left. I think that needs to go further to the left. So I'm just going to extend that a little bit. This is the one part that I think is going to be maybe a little wider than it is in the brochure that I'm looking at. But again, I think that is a necessary evil. Now I want this to basically go straight up. That should point. Yeah, that's fine. It is thicker, but that's okay. That's going to go straight up to about there. That's actually where the helipad is. I'm going to talk about that in a minute because that's nonsense. Actually, it's more like there anyway. It's about halfway between the bottom and the visitor center. So yeah, I'd say about there. Helipad, that juts off to there. And then it curves around to there. Yeah, that's fine. So around there is a helipad. Around there. So let's go essentially in a straight line up. Yep, that's fine. Helipad, jut, curve. Yeah, cool. Now this actually does jut. I don't know if it's because I'm gonna slight curve on it, but very slight. It's quite sharp. That might be because the helipad icon is blocking it, but we don't know that, so I'm just going off the information I have essentially. And then that's and then that basically smoothly curves over there into... No, that's not right. That needs to be one beautiful curve. So it's just about joining these 2 points together in a nice way. And then the outskirts should be done. Nearly. That's that. You know what? That's okay. I forgot about this bit. But this bit's nice and simple. I will say that point's probably a little bit too sharply, so we need to join that to that, and it's basically in a straight line, essentially, from there to there, I would say. It goes up and down a little bit, but it's essentially a straight line, so... yeah. It kind of goes up a little bit here, and then it starts to drop down as we get across in kind of like a little two-step. So what I want to do is just point this curve. What we want to do is... Right, let's go to around there. And then that smooths out like that. And then that drops down a little bit. So I have to kind of like flick my head between the two screens I've got up. My other screen is miles away. That should be okay. Now this is like a long, straight bit. It's around there. And then it's smooth little drop down. It's around there. And then that matches onto there. I'd like to make that a little bit smoother. Wait, that's that bit there. This actually comes out just a little bit further. So it curves. And then it drops. And then it curves out there and matches. You know what? Again, not half bad, folks. Not half bloody bad. I'd say that's... that bit I don't love. I'm going to fix that. I am much, much happier with that. The only problem is how thick this bottom bit is. But if I change how thick that is, I'd have to make that line bigger. I think we've widened the whole thing just a little bit. But that's okay, because I really want to make use of the room. Okay, there we go. How did this take so bloody long? Right, let's try to mark out these paddocks then. Phew, okay, so first things first. There's a this bit up here, there's a dimple there, and then there is going to be the this is the start of the Parasaurolophus / Brachiosaurus. I'm going to come down just a tiny bit, so about there. And it's not quite straight, it's more like that. And that ends at the curve, so around there. And then it points up that way. And it ends at... If that's that drop there, it ends about there. So what we basically need to do is go straight, and straight, and straight. And then that needs to come down from about there, and then these two need to join on with each other. So if I just click there, and there, and there, and there. Is that straight? Yeah, cool. So even though I've expanded this is still quite small. This is the Brachiosaurus Parasaurolophus exhibit we're going to see at the start. And you can kind of see my problem. This is... Imagine this about half the size, and that's what it originally looked like. You can see how this is still a very, very small version of what you'd get in the film. The river is up there. So basically the tour vehicle comes in. I mean, it doesn't in the film, we don't see that. We see them use the service road, although there's no service road here. None of this makes sense, by the way. I'm going to explain something else in a second. But then you'd stand up here. This would be a hilly bit. You'd look down. There'd be the river, and there'd be your dinosaurs. Again, doesn't make sense. It's funny, if you look at the map and the helipad, now the helipad's down here somewhere, and of course they arrive, it's there, they arrive in the helipad, and then they take the service road. You know, they're not on the tour yet, they're driving around the service roads, and they head up, and they drive through the Brachiosaurus / Parasaurolophus exhibit, Parasaurolophus, blah, 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 and then they go to the visitor centre. But they would actually have to drive past the visitor centre to get to the Parasaurolophus in the first place. Or go around the entirety rest of the island. But there's not even a surface road that I can see. Unless it goes past the track, which it might do. The point is, they would have had to drive through the Gallimimus exhibit and the Parasaurolophus exhibit to get to the Parasaurolophus / Brachiosaurus exhibit. It's all nonsense. It's all nonsense, is my point. Right, so that comes out straight. And then goes up. Equal with that there. That's okay. About there, and then probably a little bit higher. We're talking about a third of the way up. And then it goes up in a weird shape like this. And what we're doing right here is the Triceratops exhibit. I'd say that's pretty good. So, Parasaurolophus, Brachiosaurus, Triceratops, oddly enough again, / Herrerasaurus. Metri comes first. Where's the Metri? Give me a minute. I think it's Metri. It is. Yeah, Herrera's to the west, Metri's over here. It's hard to, the Metri skull and the Herrera skull look very similar when I'm so far away from the monitor. That's why. So that'll be our Triceratops. Which again we'll try to build like the film. This comes down in that kind of angle, not too far. Then it goes again, it matches up with that one there. So it's like that. And that goes along to just... Bloody Nora. About there. And it comes straight, slightly not straight down. And that's going to go down all the way to about... Well, it's going to come up from there. So we've got to try and match these two up as much as we can. Nope, not quite. Come on, you cheeky little blighter. I was hoping it would kind of latch, but it's not doing it. It's a very... I can't handle it. It's a very, very slight angle change, and it's breaking my heart. About there. That'll do. So that's actually our Gallimimus / oddly enough, Gallimimus / Dilophosaurus paddock. Now, there's actually two Dilophosaurus paddocks. One of them is according to the first dinosaur. Now this is interesting. So the first dinosaur on the tour they see is the Dilophosaurus, right? So the Dilophosaurus comes out here, and they go past the Dilophosaurus / Gallimimus. But they go past the Dilophosaurus. That's the first dinosaur they see, and that makes sense. Then they go up through the Parasaurolophus Brachiosaurus, which doesn't really make sense, and they go through to the Triceratops. That does make sense, and then they go through to the T-Rex. Again, that makes sense. But on the brochure map, the Dilophosaurus is actually in the next exhibit we're going to build sort of down here. I think what we're going to do is base it entirely on the brochure / control center rather than the film order, because the film order doesn't make sense. I think that's a better way to go about it. I think the whole thing fits together a little bit better if we go this route instead. So, we're trying to build here the T-Rex paddock. So I want a fairly sharp angle down there to about there, and then that comes down like that to about there. That's going to split off, so that needs to stop around there. Okay, that's there's a little divot. Wait, that swings down, curves, goes like that. Right? Yeah. I know this probably doesn't make much sense. So this is actually the edge of the T-Rex exhibit, and that comes forward and then joins with this. So that gap is way too big. And why is that so big? Let me think about this. I think I basically just need to shorten both of these lines here. Not quite that much, but not far off. More like about there. And then down to about there instead. And we're going to soften that angle just a little bit more. More like that, I think. Yeah. Okay. We're getting there, folks. We're getting there. This is quite a long one. Probably not that long, if we're honest, but hey-ho. And then that goes up. At about that kind of angle. And then the jutty out bit, which is... Oh, that swings down and juts there. So that's the jut. This is crazy. So if that juts out there, and that actually goes... I'm going to bring that down. About there. That juts up, not straight, it's quite... It's up a little bit. If we go like that... And then we're going to try to join these two together. That's as close as I think we can reasonably get. My problem is I'm trying to balance the exact shape with also kind of wanting to... At the end of the day, I want to make sure we have enough room to actually build these paddocks how they look in the film. So you're going to come in from this side, and then the Rex is on... Well, the first time they go through, the Rex is on the right. Am I misremembering this? Anyways, the Rex is on the right. I don't know what else to tell you. They come in and the Rex is on that right-hand side. Yeah? The Rex is actually on the left when they first come through, though, isn't it? Maybe... No, the Rex is on the right when they first go through, and then the Rex is on the left on the way out. Is that right? Why don't I remember? Yes, because the tunnel is actually... I always thought the tunnel was over here. The tunnel's actually on the other side. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I've built this before in Minecraft, oddly enough. I have a vague memory. Vague. Okay, so that's our T-Rex paddock. That's the Gallimimus paddock. So if we come down from here, we're going to basically match that angle slightly south pointing, straight all the way along, to past the bottom tip of the Rex. So about there. I don't like that. I think that angle's too sharp. Yeah, it is. The angle's too sharp. I'm gonna basically match it to there instead. I want to soften that as much as I can. There you go. Yeah, that's way better, because this goes too way too far down for my liking. So we soften the Rex. Okay, yeah, happy with that. That's good. That's good stuff. Right then, folks, 40 minutes. All I've done is build fences, but there we go. That is the layout of Jurassic Park. It is crazy to me that so much space is given over to this bottom section, but that is what it looks like. Although I would say that should come out further. That gap there is too small. But I don't think I can change that. If anything, that should point further down. The widening has ruined things a little bit, but it's okay. It's still pretty good. I'd say it's pretty good. Right, so what we'll do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I guess we'll tackle it bit by bit as we go along, and then we'll add the tour. Maybe I think the next episode what we'll do is we'll add the tour vehicle itself, because I think that's important to get in. Also, according to the map, there's 2 tour tracks. It kind of splits off at some point, kind of just at the tip of the Baryonyx exhibit. I'm not really sure how we're going to do that, or if we even can do that. Nope, I don't think we can. So I think we'll do the outer tour, basically, rather than the inner loop as well. So I think if we just do the outer one on its own, then that'll work. But we'll see. I'm open to suggestions, I'm open to ideas. Took bloody ages, but we are finally done. Next episode we'll add the tour vehicle itself and hopefully get started on the first exhibit. Or maybe we'll do the tour vehicle and we'll do the service roads, and then we'll do the raptor bit down here as well, and put some lead, and we'll decorate the visitor centre and stuff like that. That sounds like a plan. It's going to be an interesting journey, this one. Very excited to get started. Let me know what you think. Let me know any ideas and suggestions and stuff in the comments down below. If you are excited for this series, which will be more than me just putting down fences, I promise, then please do hit the like button and share and subscribe and all that kind of nonsense. It really, really does help me out. You know, every like seems like not a big deal. Every like seems like a not big deal. But at the end of the day, it really helps with the views. It really helps get the video out there a little bit more. So I'd appreciate the support and all that kind of jazz, because I love you guys. Okay, thank you for joining me. Cheers myself as always. Bye-bye. Hey folks, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want to help support me a little bit more, you can do so at patreon.com/bestinslot. There's a link in the description down below. Every little really does help in times like these, but it's not at all expected, and by just watching the video you've already helped me out massively, and it makes you a pretty cool person, so well done you. Thanks for joining me either way, I'll see you next time.